Thank you, Giancarlo, and good job I arrived in when I did. We got in here anyway. So, Minister, I have 5 minutes, so I'd just like to ask you a couple of questions and give you the time to answer as well in the period that I have there. On your website, Minister, you talk about Susie Grant, and you also spoke about it in your introductory talk today. And you said that you want to ensure people that there will a scope to address the loss of income as part of the grant scheme. I would like to, if you would expand on that in your response, and actually how people will go about accessing that, because that had always been there, that there was a provision for if your income had changed in the coming year, but how actually people will go through the process and actually arrive at the point where this income for this year will be considered by Susie. I think that's vitally important, and it needs to be cleared up as well, for we would have a lot of people would be asking questions in relation to that. Also, Minister, if I could ask as well, just a major worry for many parents and students will be the lack of accommodation, or the need to get accommodation, which may be for only 1 day a week or something like that there in college and university. So I'm just wondering, will that be addressed, and how you are dealing with that in terms of the various colleges and what is happening with them? Because I know colleges will try and blend the year to make sure that students can access and be there for the full time, which and maximise the accommodation use as well, which will be detrimental to students, I believe. And I'm just wondering what you're going to do in relation to that. And I think probably I'll give you this time to respond to those questions now, maybe as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Pringle. Minister.
Thanks very much, Giancarlo, and thanks to Deputy Pringle. Firstly, can I say, Giancarlo, I do want to organise, if we were in normal times in the AV room, but now perhaps online, a briefing for Oireachtas members conscious this is a new Oireachtas on the Susie grant system with Susie officials, because I know we are all getting a lot of queries into our office, and I'll arrange for that to happen very shortly. But the flexibility I wanted to make sure, Deputy, that existed this year was that usually they assess you on your last year's income, and they've made sure this time, and I met them last week in relation to this specifically, that they are helping students where they've seen a sudden change in their income, and that is expected to last for some time. And I know that 2,500 people extra have applied to Susie so far this year. I know that in the change of circumstances form, I think about 40% from my memory are citing COVID as the main reason. So they are showing extra flexibility in terms of sudden changes that may have happened. But I accept there's always been a change of mind. Sure, I'll send you a note on the technicalities in relation to how that's done, but I believe it's working quite well. But if you believe to the contrary, let me come back to you in relation to that. On the issue of accommodation, I think there's two real points to this. Firstly, we don't have enough, particularly college-owned, and I do want to see. There's an issue at the moment with institutes of technology, which you'll know from your own constituency, not being able to maybe access funding to build on-site college accommodation the way universities are. I think we need to overcome that. I've been meeting them in relation to that. Second thing, though, I've asked our universities and our institutes of technology where they have accommodation to try and show a flexibility in terms of the use. If they think that students are only going to be there 2 days a week or 3 days a week, can they try and actually allow students to book for the 2 days a week or the 3 days a week? A number have already indicated their willingness to do that. Some have said that they don't have that flexibility, that all of their rooms are already taken. But I would, again, on the record of this House, encourage people to show that flexibility. If people aren't going to be there 4 or 5 days a week, and they know people are going to get there 2 or 3 days a week, you can accommodate many more people that way in a safe manner. And I'll come back to you specifically on the COVID change.
Pringle?
Yeah, the COVID change is important, Minister, because I know in practice people aren't accessing that, and that is important. Just in relation to the accommodation, there is a lot of private providers of accommodation as well, and students have been caught in relation to those in the last year, and they don't want to be caught again. And I think it's an unfair burden, and you need to address that as well. And I just wondered, if I could ask quickly, just in relation to the laptops that you mentioned earlier in your talk, and that will there be a clawback from the colleges in terms of the cost of the students in relation to the laptops? I hope there won't be, and I'd just like you to confirm that as well. Thank you.
No, there certainly should not be. We've given through the HEA each higher education institution a quota effectively, and we've ordered almost 17,000 in bulk. They're distributed. I think legally they might remain in the ownership of the college, but are given to the student. There absolutely shouldn't be any fee associated with that.